Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak. That's who I am, Heerak Christian Kim, candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. Um, and I'm running for U.S. Congress for year 2022, what I'm calling 2 years of COVID hell. Yeah, we started with COVID, and we'll still have COVID in 2022, November, according to almost every healthcare expert. Um, yeah, today is December 8th, 2020. And today is Pretend to be a Time Traveler Day. Have you seen Back to the Future movies? Aren't they great? Like one, two, three, four. I think they have like four of them, and they're really good. Marty McFly. Hello there. Hello there. Yeah, you'll see what I mean when you watch the movie. Hello there. Yeah. Is anything in there? Is anything in there? Hello there. Yeah, watch the movie. Back to the Future, and you'll know what I mean. Yes, as I said, our new normal is, over 2,500 COVID-19 deaths per day. Unfortunately, yes, we are, like, you know, uh, 17 days before Christmas. And it is, Christmas countdown time right now. Very happy time. I'm very happy to think about the birthday of Jesus, and how he came to this earth as God who took on human flesh in order to die for us on the cross to give us eternal life. So I'm very excited about it. Um, but yeah, COVID-19 killing 2,707 people in 24 hours. That's not something to be happy about, because we're just talking about United States of America. So, you know, uh, I think every minute, quite a number of Americans die. Like, you see a minute pass by, a lot of Americans have died from COVID, and that's going to increase. I'm wondering if we'll hit 5,000 COVID-19 deaths by Friday. Today is, as you know, Wednesday morning or Tuesday night. But So, Wednesday night, will the death be over 3,000? Will Thursday night, will the death be over 4,000? On Friday night, will the death be, over 5,000? We don't know, I mean, you could jump from 2,700 directly to 5,000. We don't know. Um, but, a lot of states are seeing very spikes in COVID-19. The graph is like this. It goes like this, and then it goes up. Oh, you just see, it's incredible. Like in most states, you see graph like going like this, and in November it goes up like this. And in November, it's not even winter yet. It's fall season. Winter is not here yet. Can you believe that? We're not in winter. We're in fall. So, I mean, can you imagine what's going to happen in winter? I mean, so many people are going to die in winter. It's not even going to be funny. And we're just in the fall season right now. Um, yeah, so once winter comes, we may have, tremendous number of deaths. I'm predicting, I'm Heerak Christian Kim, candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. I'm considering running as a Republican for primaries in March 2022. So I have like over a year to go. Um, Obviously, my motto is bring America back to God, and that's very important to me. So, that will dictate, whether I run for primaries in the Republican Party or run as an independent. But, I'll pray about it and let God guide me. Because at the end of the day, the Bible is the moral book that is the guidance for all humanity. And interestingly enough, Romans chapter 1 says the moral law of God is in the heart of everybody. And that seems to make sense when you look at every religious book. They all agree on several things. They agree that murder is wrong, whatever the religion, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, um, Christianity, Jainism, all kinds of religion. So it seems like God's law is written in people's heart because that's in the Ten Commandments. Um, and everybody knows that stealing is wrong. Obviously, there are always exceptions to the case. Like in a war, you kill your enemy, and most religions, if not all, do not condemn that. In fact, religious warfare has been the greatest warfares in the history of humankind. There have been more religious wars than political wars. Obviously, some people, like Aristotle, said there is no such thing as non-political. Everything is political, whether it's religion. So yeah, so yeah, it's unfortunate, the talking about Google, they suck when it comes to video conferencing. You know what I'm saying? Google sucks when it comes to video conferencing because think about it. Zoom came out of nowhere and it's dominating the world. Where was Google? I'm like, fire the video conferencing people at Google. Google's dropping the ball on video conferencing. If Google were right on the ball, everybody would be using Google for video conferencing, not Zoom. But obviously, Google is not running their company well. So fire the executives at Google. Same with Microsoft. They're doing something wrong when they cannot capture the dominance of video conferencing during COVID-19. So I said, fire all the executives at Google, fire all the executives at Microsoft, because they missed the boat on the most important platform of the 21st century, video conferencing, right? Zoom captured that. So yeah, they need to fire the executives to get back online. So I'm glad that we got reminded about how Google is, like, I wanted to talk about Google and how off they are in terms of their leadership, because they were leaders. Google was started by PhD students at Stanford University. I think both of them dropped out. They didn't finish their PhDs. You know what they say? Those who cannot do, teach. Meaning like professors are people who cannot really do things in real life. So that's the saying in America, right? Those who do. Those who can't do, teach. And my sister was telling me when she was at UCLA Law School, she says straight A students become professors of law. Straight B students become judges. Straight C students become like lawyers who are so good at what they do, they make millions or billions of dollars. So, I mean, she's saying that because she heard it from like UCLA professors who said that as a joke, but that's probably very true. A lot of people who are brainiacs, they're kind of out of touch with reality in the world. And that's why, journalism right now is in the pits, because you have all these master's degree students from School of Journalism uh, being journalists, and they don't know how to be a real journalist. Like, real journalist does not require a master's degree. A great journalist is someone who is willing to ask the tough questions and question everything, right? Without presumptions. But when you go to a master's program in journalism, you're trained to look at the world from a certain framework. So you become prejudiced against certain things. So you lose your objectivity if you do a master's program in journalism. And you only look at the world through your tunnel vision of how you're trained in your master's program. That's why journalism in America sucks, because people get these master's degree and they're useless. I mean, the best journalists are people probably without a master's degree, probably without a bachelor's in journalism. People just go and start reporting and gain the experience in the field and just ask critical questions. Those are the best journalists, right? Because they're going to ask questions about everything, question everything. They're not going to look from a specific vantage point. But if you're trained in a 2-year master's program, you're trained to look at things from that perspective. And that's why I would say anybody who has a master's degree in journalism makes a bad journalist. I think that's a given. I mean, it's different from becoming an academic, right? Becoming an academic, you kind of research and kind of discuss issues following a certain academic tradition, right? But being a journalist in the real world, you have to be able to go out and ask the tough questions, and not come from a like a framework or a tunnel vision. And that's why American journalism sucks, because a lot of journalists got their masters and they think like they're all like they're brainiacs. They're people who should be just in a university teaching or researching. They shouldn't be in the out in the field doing journalism. Yeah, I don't believe in the liberal media. They suck. Um, but anyway, but Google, I'm glad that we got reminded about Google, because Google is a good example of a company that starts well, but loses its momentum, loses its global leadership, right? Because right now, Google search engines are still probably the best, and that's where they started. And Gmail is good, but Microsoft, Hotmail, Outlook, they're good too. Yahoo, Yahoo's kind of down the hill. Not too many people use Yahoo. So Yahoo is one of the companies that's kind of lost its leadership since it started. Still, I would say Gmail platform is the best, because they were able to develop a holistic program, right? Um, they have Google Gmail is the most easy to use, and it's streamlined. It's kind of like streamlined in a way where it's easy to use. It's kind of like the concept in Apple computers. Everything is easy to use. It used to be like that. Now PCs are easy to use too. So I abandoned Apple, which is expensive. I mean, it's not like it's better quality than PCs. So I abandoned Apple a long time ago. When I was in college, all I got was Apple, because they're easier to use, they're better, they're more advanced. Now, Apple is just like cosmetic. It looks good, but it's just a hype. There's nothing really technologically advanced about Apple. So I'm like, don't waste the money on Apple. So I abandoned Apple. I don't buy Apple stuff anymore. I buy like PC computer. I don't even buy iPhones anymore. I used to buy iPhones when Steve Jobs was there, and they were like innovation after innovation. Now iPhones are in some ways inferior to like Android phones, I would say. So Google's dominance is still present in certain areas, like I would say email suites. When how everything seamlessly connects in Google, that is brilliant, and Microsoft doesn't even come close. Microsoft, like the way you switch from email to its word processing program, it's really clunky, and I hate using like Microsoft system, because it doesn't work. It's too clunky. It's too frustrating to use. But Google, it's like anybody who's used Gmail um, knows that it's very easy to use. You just click on a button, and you're in a word processing program. You click on a button, um, you're in a spreadsheet. From your email account, everything is like streamlined, very easy to use. And so Microsoft, I would say, is losing ground. Google dominates in that, and probably will for the foreseeable future. But in terms of video conferencing, Google sucks. Google, nobody uses Google for video conferencing. And I don't know how Google dropped the ball on that one, because as you should have been able to anticipate 20 years ago that's the thing of the future. I mean, because remember when you watch James Bond movies from like decades ago, you have James Bond in a car with a video phone, right? Talking to like a monitor to M, who's like the boss of MI6. Um, and everybody thought that was the coolest thing, right? You driving in a car and you talk to like a video phone, and you're communicating. So everybody knew that was coming, and it did come. So Google should have anticipated the most important thing in the 21st century will be video conferencing, right? Efficiency, effectiveness. But Google dropped the ball on that one. So I don't understand how they dropped the ball. But I would say fire all the executives in that division, because they're useless, because I mean they dropped the ball for past what 10, 20 years. right? Google has so much money; they could have easily dominated in the video conferencing platform, and that's the platform of the future. Even if we didn't have COVID-19, that was the most important platform of the future: video conferencing, video um, communication through to PC. And Google dropped that completely. And now with COVID-19, like Georgetown University has gone 100% online for all the undergraduate classes and all the graduate classes since August, because I lobbied for 3 months in the summer to close Georgetown University down to save the lives of students, professors, and staff. And I succeeded because I care about your life, So that's what I did. And so Georgetown went 100% online. They're all using Zoom, right? So where's Google? I mean, Georgetown University uses Google platform for email and everything else, but for video conferencing, they use Zoom. So that shows to what extent Google dropped the ball on that one. But it's a cautionary tale for all companies, right? I would say Yahoo losing its internet dominance is a cautionary tale. Um, you know, um, um, Google dropping the ball on video conferencing, that's a cautionary tale. Microsoft, I mean, still the word processing and spreadsheet is still dominant. And Bill Gates set that up, and also operating system. But after that, nothing worked. I mean, if Bill Gates had stayed as CEO, I'm sure he might have managed to find a way to beat Google, but he retired early. Obviously, he should pursue his own happiness, and you can't blame Bill Gates for that. He has a lovely wife that he should enjoy, and also lovely children, right? His daughter is really pretty. I don't know if you saw a photo of her, but yeah, she's really, really pretty. But anyway, hopefully, his daughter marries somebody as good as Bill Gates. One of the problems about having a father who's so amazing is the sons cannot often do not achieve that level, or daughters do not achieve that level. They fail to marry somebody as good as that level. Obviously Melinda Gates, I have high respect for her for winning Bill Gates' heart. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, by all accounts, Bill Gates is a difficult person. I don't know if he is or not, but people say he is. And for a woman to capture his heart completely like that, it takes a special woman. I'm sure she strategized, she's probably a genius, because winning a heart of a genius probably requires more genius, than the genius, because you have so many obstacles to maneuver through, because geniuses are very often very suspicious of people, and it's part of their critical thinking apparatus because they're critical thinkers. They're critical of everything. So it's hard to gain the trust of a genius, um, because they're critical of everything, and they're difficult people to. Often they're difficult, very difficult people. So Melinda Gates, I have really a lot of respect because not only did she manage to marry Bill Gates, she held on to him. I mean, holding to the genius is probably harder than marrying the genius. You know what I'm saying? Um, I mean, it helps that Bill Gates is a Catholic. I think he's a Catholic. He's Catholic, and in Catholicism, divorce is not allowed. So if he's devout Catholic, obviously he wouldn't think about divorce. But there are Catholics who get divorced, So I think that's not necessarily the thing. Um, so I have high respect for Melinda Gates from that vantage point. Any woman who can capture a genius and hold on to him has my respect, because I mean that takes a lot of skill. I mean, it doesn't just happen out of the, nothing. You make your own luck. You make your own luck. You never luck is not something that just drops on you. I would argue luck is something that you make for yourself. You do X, Y, and Z to make yourself lucky. You know what I mean? Like Melinda Gates, I'm sure worked really hard, maybe for years, to gain the trust and love of Bill Gates. Same with Kate Middleton. I have high respect for Kate Middleton because I mean I could see the strategy she used. I don't know if you know, but Kate Middleton entered this fashion show contest, and she wore a very classy but very revealing outfit in the fashion show, which caught the eyes of Prince William. I like women, who are scantily clothed, uh, but some guys, they want something, more substantial, So I guess, maybe William is like that, Prince William. So when he was a student, college student at St. Andrews University in Scotland, she entered this fashion show, probably knowing that Prince William will be there. And then she wore a very elegant type of clothing, but kind of transparent, see-through. I think it was like black color. So like Prince William would not say, oh, maybe she's a hoe, oh, she's elegant, but it's kind of you can see her skin through the silhouette of the black outfit. And she's very pretty and she's very thin, what men like, obviously. Um, um, just eat like one piece of toast and a piece of boiled egg for breakfast, have a sandwich for lunch, and have a small piece of meat, with salad for dinner. You're not going to gain any weight, really. Um, I mean, you don't have to like not eat, but anyway, and that's how Germans eat, and that's how a lot of Europeans eat. That's why European women are so thin because they just, they don't eat that much food. None of these like extra large French fries, although I love French fries. But if you're a woman trying to keep your figure, you've got to stay away from them. Um, but yeah, so anyway, there, Kate Middleton, she's probably worked hard to capture his eye first of all, and then capture his heart. So I have high respect for Kate Middleton, and she's a smart woman because after she got married, she had like cranked out like 3 children, and men love children. Like when they marry the woman they want to marry, they want to have a lot of children. It's like most men. You're not going to have too many men who want like one child, unless he lost his love for his wife. If he still loves his wife, he probably would want more than one child. Most men, because men like having like things around, especially that's part of them, more the better, So obviously your children are yours. So most men like to have a lot of them around, It's just the way men are, And that's one way to keep men like honest if you have a lot of children, because men are men. Yes, they have eyes and they'll chase any skirt that allows them to chase them, or screw any woman that will allow them to screw them. I mean, that's like 99% of the men, including pastors and elders. That's why a lot of pastors and elders fall into sin because men are like that. And so if you're a wife, you gotta keep your husband in a tight leash. That's your yeah. I mean, if you don't want your husband to cheat on you, that you have to keep him in a tight leash because all men are like dogs. They just go sniffing around with women everywhere they can. Um, so keep them around a tight leash if you're married, and one way to do that without actual leash is have a lot of children. If you have like 3 or 4 children, I mean, they'll occupy his time so much. I mean, like for you to do all the work trying to get him to be focused on the family and you is hard. But if you have like 4 children and all of them are like wearing him down, he'll be like too tired to go and cheat on you, right? Because he'll be like, and also he loves his children because that's like most men are like that, if not all. So having a lot of children is a brilliant way to like shackle your husband down to you. Um, yeah, without a leash, your husband will probably go cheat on you. I mean, what do you think? There's 50% divorce. I mean, none of this like, husbands, yeah, you go out, you go spend time with my sister by yourself for like hours and hours, and yeah, I'm sure nothing will happen. I mean, that's like an idiotic woman. I mean, you don't send your husband with your sister alone. I mean, that's like asking for him to cheat on you. You know what I'm saying? Um, so it's you have to be smart about these things if you're a woman, and there are smart women out there who know these things, so they're smart and they're the ones who are not divorced. Yeah, it divorce takes both sides. Just because your husband cheats on you, it's not just him. He's a dog. All guys are dogs. It's in his nature. He cannot help himself. Even Billy Franklin Graham's son, who's a pastor, cheated on his wife with a church, what was a secretary or something. And he's one of the very important pastors in America, praying all the time. All he talks about is the Bible, and he cheated on his wife with somebody from his church. Yeah, and they've been doing it for a long time. It wasn't like one-time adultery. So yeah, people fall into sin, and men who are pastors are just they're men, they're dogs, just like anybody else. Um, yeah, it's the wife. A smart wife keeps her husband in a tight leash because men cannot be trusted with um, you know um, men cannot be trusted alone with another woman for a long period of time. It wears them down. Let's say one man is with your sister for 5 hours today, 5 hours tomorrow, 5 hours after that. Eventually, his guard will be worn down, and then they will probably have adultery. That's like expected. Um, so if you think that your husband will not have sex with your sister, you're probably sorely mistaken. It doesn't matter if he's a pastor and your sister is like a deacon and they love Jesus. Yeah, I mean, people who love Jesus have adultery all the time. I mean, not all the time, but it happens in churches all the time. I mean, you go to a church and find a church where there has not been adultery. I mean, show me a church where there's no adultery. Show me. Um, I mean, I'm not saying you should approve adultery, but it happens because there are people who are unwise, right? You just have to, if you're a wife, you gotta, have a tight leash around your husband. Otherwise, you're to blame. You're partly to blame because that's his nature. 99%, 99.9% of the men. I want to say 100, but I'll just, give a 0.1%. 99.9% of the men are dogs. I mean, geez. I mean, history shows this, science shows this, everything shows this. Men are dogs. I mean, just common observation shows this. Um, so yeah, just keep your husband in tight leash. Be smart about it. Um, yeah. So, um, but when we think about Christmas, obviously we think about family time, and we think about church. And when I was at University of Pennsylvania, and I'm wearing like University of Pennsylvania mask, I got involved in anti-abortion marches. The Catholic Human Center, that's the student center for Catholic students at University of Pennsylvania. There's like 500 members. When I was there, when I was at Penn, University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, which is an Ivy League university in Philadelphia, and they used to hold anti-abortion marches throughout the year. So I would always participate because I'm against abortion. Killing little babies is just wrong. Obviously, they have a heartbeat. After several weeks inside the mother's tomb, they're alive. So killing it is just wrong. I mean, geez, killing like something that has a heartbeat. I mean, how evil do you have to be, right? Um, so this is why I don't like Joe Biden, because he thinks that like you have the right to kill a living baby inside the mother's womb that has a heartbeat. How evil can you be? I have no respect for Joe Biden. Anyone who thinks that you should have the right to kill babies because they're inconvenient, or because they have autism, or because they have Down syndrome, or some kind of disability. I mean, I am a teacher of children with disabilities. I'm a licensed teacher. I'm actually in the Honor Society of Special Education Teachers in America. I was inducted. And so for me, um, it's absolutely, wrong to see people support like killing little babies. It's just wrong, just because they have Down syndrome, or autism, or they have a congenital heart defect or something. How can a mother kill her child? And how can a politician say that's okay? It's just absolutely wrong. So for me, And I cannot respect Joe Biden because he calls himself a Catholic. It's not like he's like, I'm an atheist. I mean, Joe Biden being a Catholic should know better than support killing little babies in the mother's womb. You know what I mean? So he calls himself Catholic, and he's like, yeah, he supports women killing their babies. I'm like, how can you call yourself Catholic? You're not a Catholic. I mean, how can you be Catholic and kill babies like that? Support that. Um, and so, I have no respect for Joe Biden, to be honest with you. So I'm kind of hoping like, President Trump will beat him by January. He's working his magic. Let's see how good President Trump is. If he's a winner or if he's a loser. Obviously, by definition, if he doesn't win, he's a loser. And he'll be remembered as the greatest loser in history of America if he doesn't win. And that'll be sad. That will curse his whole Trump dynasty forever. So this is like life and death for the whole Trump family. But I mean, I'm hoping Trump will beat Biden. To be honest with you, because Trump, he has flaws, problems, but at least on this point of abortion, he's on the right side of it, and Biden is not. And so, ensuring that Biden doesn't become president can result in saving millions of babies' lives. And that's why I would say this is very important. This month is important. So you see photo before me. I went to celebrate 125th anniversary of Penn Newman Center. So it was started 125 years ago, and it's in the St. Agatha Parish in Philadelphia, Archdiocese. And so I went and I participated in the program. It was a lot of fun. Um, so I met a fellow alumni from University of Pennsylvania. A lot of University of Pennsylvania alumni are Catholic, and a lot of them oppose abortion, and obviously gay marriage, because gay marriage is against the sacrament of holy matrimony, which is to be between one man and one woman. So by definition, when you believe in the sacrament of holy matrimony as defined by the Bible, you will oppose gay marriage. So millions of Catholics in America oppose gay marriage because they believe in the sacrament of holy matrimony, which is a sacrament. Um, and so, I took a photo also in front of the church sign there, Penn Newman Center, St. Agatha Christie. And I had the pleasure of meeting one, former president of Penn Newman Center, student president, is a student group. And she's a medical doctor. She went to United States Services Medical School, which is in Maryland. And she now works for United States Indian Affairs. She works for United States, I guess, yeah, Indian Affairs Health Service or something like that. She's working as a doctor uh, with the federal government, or is it the U.S.? Yeah, federal government, uh, focusing on Indians, Native Americans. Um, and her husband works for U.S. federal government. Um, I think Homeland Security, uh, and he was doing his master's at Georgetown. As you know, as vice president of Georgetown University Graduate Student Government, GradGov, from May 2019 to May 2020. So I was his vice president. A lot of FBI agents, a lot of CIA agents, a lot of Homeland Security agents, they work full time and then they get masters at Georgetown part time in order to like become a director in FBI or CIA, Homeland Security. Degrees actually help. So obviously, I was very serious about upholding the Christian values of the Catholic Church, because Georgetown University is a Catholic university, is a Jesuit university, and the official Catholic position is that homosexuality and gay marriage are condemned by the Bible. Romans 1 condemns it, and abortion is condemned by the Bible. So these are official positions of the Catholic Church, which 1 billion Catholics around the world are expected to follow. Obviously, different people have different levels of Christian faith, and not everybody follows the Bible like they should, but they're expected to. And so I fought for these values at Georgetown University, which is a Catholic university, to uphold its Catholic identity. And so, I'm very proud of what I've achieved. There were, people who hate Catholicism or Christianity, who hate the Bible, who tried to fight and tried to push their agendas. But obviously, stood my ground. You have to be the defender of the Christian faith, right? So you're gonna take some punches, take some punches if you're gonna be the defender of Christian faith, right? You can never be the defender of Christian faith, just like agreeing to everything, right? You know what I'm saying? You gotta stand your ground. Um, so I don't know if you know, but historically, Jesuits or the Society of Jesus, the priests, are considered the defender of Christian faith. So they have a sworn obligation to fight homosexuality, gay marriage, and abortion. That's their obligation and their oath. Obviously, God expects them to, because Romans 1 condemns homosexuality in all attestations, bisexuality, transgenderism, lesbianism, homosexuality, being queer. It's all condemned in Romans chapter 1. And Jesuits, the Society of Jesus, uh, is defender of faith who must fight against it. I mean, so, I was at Jesuit University, Catholic University, so obviously I helped the Jesuits out in defending the Christian identity, the Catholic identity of Georgetown University. I believe that every professor at Georgetown University who opposes abortion or homosexual or supports homosexual or gay marriage should be fired from their job as a matter of principle, because it's a Catholic university. It has its obligation, its identity is in jeopardy if you allow these professors to teach at Georgetown. So it's my belief that every professor who supports abortion should be fired. Um, every professor who supports gay marriage or homosexuality should be fired from Georgetown University. It's a private university, so it's all legal. It's all allowed. There's no violation of law. Yeah, I think that should be an official policy in the faculty handbook, in the student handbook, and that should be the official policy. So I support that, because I think that protecting the Christian church requires disenfranchising and firing people who attack core values like right to life and the sacrament of holy matrimony. These professors have to be fired. Otherwise, your institution's core values become compromised. So I think that should happen not just at Georgetown University, but Boston College, Loyola University in Chicago, Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. It should happen in every Catholic university in America. LaSalle University in Philadelphia, Villanova University in Philadelphia, St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia, because defending the identity, Christian identity, should be a priority of every Christian university. So yeah, I think you should require signing of the document of every professor that says, who teaches that they are opposed to abortion and gay marriage. I think that should be required by law, by rules of the private Catholic university. So because once you start watering down core values like sacrament of holy matrimony or right to life, you lose everything, and there's no reason why you should do that, right? You got to protect your institution identity. You should protect your identity, religious identity, right? So one of the things I respect about Penn Newman Center, it's worked hard to fight abortion and homosexuality and gay marriage, and it should continue to. These are very important things to do as a Christian. If you're a Christian, you must fight against gay marriage and homosexuality. There's no way around it, because it's in print. It's part of Romans chapter 1 that's in print, right? You cannot call yourself a true Christian and oppose Romans chapter 1, because it's in print in the core text of Christianity, not in the age of law, in the age of grace in Romans chapter 1. So you cannot support gay marriage in any shape or form and call yourself a true Christian. You're not, right? You're not a true Christian. Because you're fundamentally opposing Romans chapter 1. You're not a true Christian. So hopefully, if you are in error, you'll recant and you'll come back to the Bible position. But I'm just describing what's in the Bible, right? Romans chapter 1. So yeah, I mean, I'm not the judge here. Jesus Christ is the judge, and Jesus Christ will judge you if you oppose Romans chapter 1. When you die of COVID, you'll go to eternal damnation in hell if you oppose Romans chapter 1 explicitly, standing explicitly against the law of God, right? Um, yeah, so that's something. I mean, I'm 100% sure Joe Biden will go to eternal damnation in hell because he supports, gay marriage, and he supports abortion, killing little babies. You can't go to heaven killing little babies. No, Joe Biden is going to hell for sure. I'm 100% sure. I have no doubt that Joe Biden is going to hell because I don't consider him a true Christian. A true Christian cannot support killing little babies, you know, as a matter of law, as a matter of principle. I mean, you know, um, yeah, I mean, people make mistakes and they regret it and they repent about it. But if you say it's okay to kill little babies as a matter of principle and law, you can't go to heaven. I mean, that's why John Paul II said every politician who supports pro-abortion laws cannot be given the sacrament of the mass, the body and the blood of Christ, because obviously they're considered to be non-Christians. So that's, I mean, I totally agree with that. Um, yeah, so I mean, Joe Biden is definitely not a true Christian. You cannot be a true Christian and support abortion and gay marriage. That's impossible. It's impossible according to the Bible. So, but yeah, I mean, so you do what you want. Obviously, you're not a slave. You do what you want. But I'm just telling you what the Bible position is. And as you know, I'm a certified expert theologian. And I'm speaking as an expert theologian. I'm giving you expert guidance, expert opinion, expert advice, and you do what you want. But at the end of the day, it's not I who judge. It's Jesus who will judge when you die of COVID-19 or the flu or whatever you die of cancer. So, at the end of the day, when you die, you will meet your maker, and your maker is going to judge you. Jesus Christ is God, right? John chapter 1:1 said Jesus is God. Jesus was there in creation, right? In the beginning was the Word. Word was with God. Word was God. So God will judge you if you support abortion or gay marriage. You're not going to be led into heaven. Um, yeah, what do you think the Bible is there for? Bible is God's word to give you guidance on what you should believe if you want to go to heaven. You know what I'm saying? So you choose what you want. You could choose hell. A lot of people choose hell. John 3:16 says, John chapter 3 says everybody's already condemned to hell. Only those people who choose to believe that Jesus is God and follow his word are going to be taken out of the condemnation. Everybody starts from the vantage point of condemnation or going to hell, right? That's what John chapter 3 says. Everybody's already condemned to hell. Only those who choose to accept Jesus and submit themselves to Jesus and his word, including Romans chapter 1 that condemns homosexuality and gay marriage, will go to heaven. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, so if you don't want to submit yourself to Jesus, you cannot really truly call yourself a true Christian, right? John 3:16 will not save you if you choose to oppose Romans chapter 1 explicitly. It's not going to save you. Yeah, so I say this as an expert theologian. I'm a card-carrying expert theologian, and so I give you my expert assessment. You do what you want with it. You could go AMA, against medical advice, or ATA, against theological advice. ATA. Yeah, you could go ATA if you want. That's your free choice. Nobody's going to block you from going to hell. I'm not going to block you from going to hell. If you want to go to hell, I'll try to persuade you. But if you insist on going to hell, I say, hey, go to hell. If that's what you want to do, yeah, sure, go to hell. Go to hell if that's what you want to do. Yeah, I mean, you're not a slave. You're free. You're free to choose heaven. You're free to choose hell. You are a free person. Yeah, so we have 2,707 people who died, and those who oppose Romans chapter 1 went to hell. Obviously, because Jesus is the judge, right? In the theological system that is in the Bible, either you go to heaven or hell, and you have to support Romans chapter 1 explicitly to go to heaven. So, that is a deciding factor on one level, right? And so, yeah, you can't say you believe in Jesus and then support gay marriage. It's inconsistent because Jesus gave us the holy word. You know, you're not going to be saved just because you say you believe in Jesus. I mean, geez, Jesus has rules and regulations, which shows that if you truly believe in Jesus, your heart will reject homosexuality and gay marriage. If your heart doesn't reject homosexuality and gay marriage, then it's just words when you say you believe in Jesus. It's just words. It's not true. Because Holy Spirit is not in you, right? You don't have the gift of Christian faith. Because if Holy Spirit were truly in you, you would oppose homosexuality and gay marriage. But if your heart doesn't reject homosexuality and gay marriage, then you're not a truly born again Christian by definition. Because Romans chapter 1 says the law of God is written in your hearts, right? Obviously, your heart has been clouded by the devil. So you're not willing to submit to Romans chapter 1, right? So the law that is written in your heart, you're rejecting it. So that's why you're going to hell. You see what I'm saying? And I say this as an expert theologian, 100% positive that that will happen based on Romans chapter 1. If you accept Romans chapter 1 as God's word, then that's 100% guaranteed. Yeah, so there are 15,172,602 cases right now of COVID-19. Out of that, 286,338 people have died. As you know, I'm Heerak Christian Kim, candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia's 8th District. I'm predicting that 30 million American citizens will die by June 2021 based on three factors. I don't think the vaccines will work because there are thousands of strains of COVID-19 that have not been identified yet. If they're localized, there is a higher chance of success. But because of all this movement, constant movement, all these strains are mixing, which means in all 50 states, all these strains are mixing around. And they're mixing because of transportation, right? When the food is brought in to every corner of America, they come through trucks, right? Deliveries. So in terms of business, when Amazon delivers packages, things come. It's not like every Amazon package gets like sanitized, right? And scientists say COVID-19 can live on objects for 72 hours to like 2 weeks. So every package of Amazon packed by a worker who has COVID-19 can have like on the box or a package COVID-19 that could live for like days or weeks. So that's how you can spread all over. You can't prevent it, right? It's impossible to prevent it because unless you stop all shipments and sanitize all the trucks and all the workers, at every stop, you cannot prevent COVID-19 from spreading different strains. And that's why it's impossible in the modern era. In the ancient era, if you live in a village and which is self-sufficient, you don't bring in anything from outside, no groceries, nothing, then obviously you could be a bubble which can be safe, but that really doesn't exist in America, unfortunately. You could reduce it significantly, but you cannot block out COVID because food comes in, products come in, shipments come in. And scientists say that COVID-19 can live on surfaces of objects for days or weeks. So it's not just people-to-people transmission, it could be transmitted through objects. So that's why they keep telling you to wash your hand even if you don't touch people. Because COVID-19 can be in your hand. And if you don't wash it and you put your hand to your eyes or your mouth, finger licking good chicken, and you eat your chicken and your finger has COVID, and maybe you could get it. That's the whole idea, right? And so anyway, yeah, so just this is an important point to remember is God is in control of his creation, right? And we know from the Holy Bible that when you die, there's judgment by Jesus, who is the judge. And we talk about the pearly gates. And you don't automatically go there just because you're baptized. It doesn't work that way. Because let's say, Hitler was baptized. He was a devout Catholic, right? I mean, Hitler did nothing wrong because he did everything legally. He said Jews are the national security threat of Germany, so we are going to put them in camps. Just like Theodore Roosevelt said, Japanese people are the national security threat of the United States during World War II, so we're going to put them in camps, concentration camps. So Theodore Roosevelt, who's a Democrat politician, liberal progressive, and Hitler, they're the same, right? In terms of quality, they did the exact same thing. They put a whole race into concentration camp just because of their race. Or actually, Jews are more like religion, but Hitler called them a race. So he kind of attributed race to them, although it's more like a religion. Um, but Hitler, Germany was in a wartime. They did not have money, so they didn't want to feed the Jews in the concentration camps, so they just exterminated them. It was one of those things where they didn't have money to spend. Whereas in America, if bombs were dropping all over America, Theodore Roosevelt might have exterminated the Japanese in concentration camps too. But America was, we did have Pearl Harbor, and we remember that yesterday. But we didn't have constant bombs dropping on our cities, so we had a little more leeway, and that's why Theodore Roosevelt, liberal progressive, did not kill all the Japanese in concentration camps. That's the difference. But in Germany, like bombs were dropping in every city. I don't know if you've been to like Leipzig or Berlin. They have these preserved buildings where U.S. or English bombs dropped and destroyed the whole building, and the whole cities were leveled. So Germany was desperate. That's why they killed all the Jews, as a matter of policy. So there's no sin. Hitler did not commit any sin, just like Theodore Roosevelt did not commit any sin in identifying a race or people who they're at war with that they could pose jeopardy. Because it's true that Japanese Americans, some of them were spies. I mean, let's be honest here. Out of, let's say, I don't know how many people were put into concentration camp, but let's say 1 million people were put into concentration camps in America for being Japanese during World War II. There must have been thousands who were working for the Japanese government. I mean, it's, we have FBI agents, or we have people who are academics going abroad and studying in China and Russia who FBI recruits to work for FBI. So we do that. So why do you presume like other governments don't do that? Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, our FBI goes and knocks on the door of professors who are going to spend 1 year being a visiting professor in Beijing, and ask them to gather intel on China and Chinese academics, like their name, what they do, what they like, what their research area, who their family are, and send it to FBI. So that when US invades China, if there's a war, they can identify which Chinese scientists they could turn to betray China, to give advantage to America. This is what FBI and CIA does. So, and FBI and CIA have been doing this for what? For decades. And so you cannot assume that other governments are not doing that. So, so you cannot criticize governments that identify a threat, national security threat, and try to neutralize it in times of crisis, right? Yeah, so I mean, I don't think most Americans, like out of 330 million Americans, most Americans don't have problem with the concentration camp in during Theodore Roosevelt's time. During Theodore Roosevelt's time, like basically no one had problem. But even now, majority of Americans, whether they're white, black, or even Asian, don't have really problem with federal, like a Democratic president like Theodore Roosevelt throwing all the Japanese people in concentration camps. Because like the problem is, yes, you should only throw people in concentration camps who are spies. But how are you going to identify the spies in a time of war? You see what I mean? That's the problem. So, if there's a war between United States and China, you should not be surprised if United States puts every Chinese national person with Chinese citizenship in America in concentration camp. You should not be surprised. And every U.S. citizen in America may be put into their concentration camp if they don't, unless they leave the country. These things will happen. I mean, there are Koreans here in America who are third generation who work for the Korean government, in intelligence. There are Jews in America who are like been here for 100 years, like their parents immigrated from Russia pogroms in 1880, and they're like Jewish, and they've been here for 100 years. Some of them work for Israeli Mossad or Israeli intelligence on a secret level. I mean, these things happen uh, because they feel like their identity is stronger with Jewish state of Israel. We have APAC here, American Israeli Action Committee, political committee. All these things are basically like loyal to other countries, right? Like these, APAC, they're not loyal to the United States. They're more loyal to Israel, right? They're trying to lobby for Israel in America, like APAC. I oppose APAC because I think like if you're in America, you should be loyal to America, and you should not be loyal to Israel. Because Israel is another government. Like if you're in America, you should be, and if you have to choose, right? You cannot be loyal equally to both countries. You have to choose what you're more loyal to. That's why I oppose APAC. Uh, I guess American Israeli Action Political Committee. Or American Israeli Political Action Committee. I oppose it. I think it should be illegalized. Any kind of lobbying group that represents the interest of a foreign government like Israel, it doesn't matter, Israel, China, whatever the country, it should be illegalized. I think the US Congress should pass a law to illegalize any lobbying group on behalf of foreign governments, whether it's China, Venezuela, or Israel, or whatever. If you vote for me for US Congress, I will introduce a bill in US Congress to illegalize all political action committees, all lobby groups, and all lobbying activities on behalf of foreign governments, whether it's China, whether it's Israel, doesn't matter. It compromises our national security. It compromises our people, our citizens, and it dilutes our national goals, right? With all these, because it means like you have more money, you could lobby to like support this government or that government outside of America. Why should we be supporting other governments, whether it's Israeli government or Chinese government? Why should we be doing that? I mean, no other country has this. So it's gotten out of hand. We have to illegalize APAC. We have to illegalize all political action committees that represent foreign governments. And Democrats and Republicans should be able to agree on this for the sake of national security, because it compromises national security. Um, yeah, would you agree with that? So vote for me on November 8th, 2022, for U.S. Congress, because I know Don Beyer, he's like, oh, he supports foreign governments. Like Joe Biden is all supporting foreign governments, right? Joe Biden and his son, they're all supporting like what, foreign governments. I mean, all compromised. This Washington swamp is compromised. What do you? I mean, our United States government is being divvied up by foreign governments that can pay like billions or millions to lobby. It's a shame that our country has become like this. Um, Talking about the world, let's see who's what's top 5 in the world for COVID-19. United States is number 1 for COVID-19. 15,172,605 people have gotten COVID in America. And out of that, we have 286,338 who have died, 2% death rate. In India, there are 9,735,850 cases. And in terms of death rate, 1% death rate. It's like 1.4%, so I rounded down. 141,360 people have died. Brazil is number 3 in terms of cases at 6,674,999, 3% death rate, and 178,159 death. Russia is number 4 at 2,518,551, 2% death rate, 44,220. I mean, do you feel comfortable with politicians supporting Russian interests? Why do you think it's okay for politicians to support the interest of Israel or to support the interests of China. Why is that okay? It's not okay. We must illegalize AIPAC and any foreign government lobbying group. We must oppose it. We must oppose it. It's anti-American to support AIPAC or any kind of political action committee that lobbies on behalf of a foreign government. Israel, China, Russia, who cares what the foreign government is? It's anti-American to lobby for other governments. You know, I think we should investigate every politician who's involved with AIPAC or China PAC or Russia PAC. I don't know. Who cares what PAC it is? Israel PAC, Russia PAC, China PAC. They're all foreign governments. You know, these politicians who support these foreign government lobby groups are compromised. We must investigate every single one of them. We need to look out for national security and protect our nation. It's getting less and less secure, especially because of COVID-19. We need to outlaw or illegalize AIPAC, American Israeli Political Action Committee, and all the other political committees that support foreign governments, China, Russia, Venezuela, it doesn't matter. Don't you agree? Yeah, vote for me on November 8, 2022. I will pass a bill to legalize every single one of them, every single lobbying group on behalf of foreign governments. France is number 5 with 2,363,197 cases, and death rate is at 2%. 56,453 have died. COVID-19 USA, we have to look out for ourselves. You know, our nation is in crisis. Our nation has number one for COVID-19 cases and COVID-19 death in the world. I'm predicting that 30 million Americans would die by June 2021, unfortunately, because our nation is compromised, right? We're not looking out for ourselves, right? We are so divided as a nation in supporting Israel or supporting China, all these foreign governments. Let's force every politician to stop supporting foreign governments. Force them, Democrat, Republicans, it doesn't matter. Force them to stop. Stop supporting Israel. Stop supporting China. Stop supporting foreign governments. Let's focus on America. America first. Make America great again. We must focus. See how I lift up my mask to drink water? That's when you can catch COVID, you know? Yeah. That's why masks, you know, like masks are not foolproof. It's better for you to isolate yourself at your home. You know, because if you're around people and you wear a mask, you have to drink soda at some point. You're compromised. Number 1 article: nursing students look to fill the void created by COVID-19, because there's an impact on nursing students. You know, nurses are going to die in large numbers, so that's what's going to bring in nursing students to die in large numbers. You know, it's like Marines. You know, during time of war, so many Marines die. I mean, they have to get people to fill the bodies, right? There has to be bodies fighting the war, and they're going to die. But you know, you recruit them to be there, so there's like a body shield, right? So nursing students are kind of like that. Nursing students are going to die in large numbers from now to June 2021, because you know you need people with skills, but they're going to die. But you still need them, right? It's like Marines. You need them and their skill in a war. So this is, you know, from today, December 8, 2020, Stephen Kirsch in KMBT CBS 11. So the significant quote from this is: Idaho has more than 30,000 licensed nurses in the state, according to the Idaho State Board of Nursing. There's still a need for more, as many hospitals are being hit hard by COVID-19. Yeah, that's like in every state. It's not just in Idaho. It's like that in Virginia. It's like that in Maryland. It's like that in DC. It's like that in Pennsylvania. It's like that in New Jersey. Every state is hurting because no state in America has enough nurses right now. And it's going to get far worse in the winter. Um, However, some nursing students are looking to fill the void created by the virus, like virus that's killing nurses, people. Um, the College of Southern Idaho's nursing program has more than 160,000 this fall semester, but recently the lecture part of the class has had to go online due to rising coronavirus cases across the state, which is hard for some students to adapt to. I mean, we went online. As you know, I was in a 2-year full-time master's program in clinical nurse leader at Georgetown University, right? And you know that, right? From summer 2018 to summer 2020, and I graduated with 24 other master's students at Georgetown in clinical nurse leader on August 24, 2020. And I'm working at Virginia Hospital Center. There are other core members working in other hospitals in the area. Some went back home and they work in hospitals near their home. Like Sheila Giovanni is working at a hospital in Georgia. Um, she's from Georgia. And so, we have people going, and Grant is in South Carolina. Although he was telling me like he's not planning to work for a hospital for a while because of COVID-19, I guess. He didn't say that, but, it was kind of understood. Um, so, yeah, I guess if you have money, I'm not saying Grant has money, but if you have money or if you don't want to die, obviously you wouldn't work in a hospital. I'm ready to die for you working as a nurse at a hospital. You're not going to be working as a nurse now unless you're ready to die, because a lot of nurses are going to die. We don't know who, but a lot of nurses will die. That's 100% sure. Exact number is not sure. Um, yeah, but a lot of nurses are going to die. Out of the 25 um, clinical nurse leader members who graduated with me on August 24, 2020, I'm predicting that like 5 will die, 5 or more will die before Christmas. Before Christmas. So I'm going to cheer for that. CNL 2020 Georgetown University, yay! We graduated from Georgetown Clinical Nurse Leader Program, yay! You may die from COVID, but you can always put in your gravestone, Georgetown 2020 CNL, yay! Yeah, it's sad, I wish I could be bearer of good news, especially in this time of the birth of Jesus, you know. Um, but the fact is, yes, we're celebrating Christmas, but yes, there is a COVID killing like nearly 3,000 daily now. And obviously, who do you think are treating these patients who are dying of COVID? Nurses. So it stands to reason a lot of nurses will die. Um, right? It makes sense, right? It makes sense. A lot of nurses will die. Um, so, I'm predicting 5 nurses from out of 25 will die. 20% of us will die before Christmas. We have a lot of nurses working in, we have some nurses working in ICU, intensive care units. They may die. And we have nurses who have pre-existing conditions who may die. And people are going to be given vaccines. I'm rejecting it. I don't want a vaccine that is not being tested. But there are nurses who will be getting their vaccines because healthcare workers are the first to get it. I'm not going to get it. I rejected it. Um, but for those who get it, we don't know what the vaccine will do. So some nurses may die because they got the vaccine, right? My philosophy on that is, if you're not sure of what you're putting into your body, don't put it into your body. That's my philosophy. Because you can't change the process, So my prediction is that a lot of nurses will die because they got the vaccine, because it will compromise their immunity in ways that were not predicted by the vaccine developers. And then when nurses get this vaccine and start working with COVID-19, their natural immune system is so compromised that they will get COVID, even though they were not going to get COVID. and that they will die from it because it's going to be exponentially more severe than it would have been had they not gotten the vaccine. That's my prediction. Why do you think I'm rejecting my vaccine? I could have gotten my vaccine like next week, or I don't know. It's like the first batch in Virginia, very first batch, but I rejected it. I'm not going to get it because of this risk. I mean, I believe that I have a better chance of surviving COVID if I get it without an untested vaccine with my natural body. As soon as if I ever get COVID, I'm just gonna go complete bed rest, drink a lot of fluids, take Tylenol and Advil for like symptoms management. Like some kind of cold medication and stuff like that. Because there's really no treatment for COVID. But I put myself on a regimen. If I ever get COVID, a lot of rest, and then I'll eat nutritious food, especially protein. Um, like a lot of food that will help my body fight off whatever is infecting. Because good nutrition is important. So that's what I would do. Like if I ever get some COVID, I would take medication to control my symptoms, and then I will eat well. I mean, I would like probably eat meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, yeah, because your body has to be strong to fight things off. So I'll probably eat meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner until I get well. I think I have a better chance of surviving this with my natural immune system and taking a kind of like time-tested rest approach if I ever get it. I'm hoping I won't get it, obviously. But if I put a vaccine in my body, I'm not sure what the vaccine would do to me, and I don't know how the vaccine will interact with all different kinds of medications I would take, like Tylenol, Advil, cough drops or whatever. You know, and because they haven't tested all these things out yet, right? I mean, people are saying vaccines are going to work. It's not. I don't think it will work. But my biggest fear is that it would damage your system, like immune system, bodily system, um, because scientists had not had enough time to study what the vaccine does to your body, and with different body types, different body conditions, and that's why I'm a nurse. I would receive the first batch of COVID-19 vaccine in the state of Virginia, and I said no, I don't want it. Yeah, I already said no. They asked me if I want it. I said no. So so I'm not going to get the vaccine. So I'm not speaking to you as a hypocrite, right? I'm not telling you like vaccine is dangerous and then I take the vaccine. I have a genuine suspicion of the vaccine that is rushed. And I'm telling you that I already signed that I will not be taking the vaccine. Thank God, Virginia Hospital Center is not requiring all the nurses to get the vaccine. You know, um, they said it's not mandatory, and I said, thank you, Lord Jesus, because I don't want to, I don't want to take it. So I told Virginia Hospital Center I'm not going to take the vaccine. Yeah, I was offered the vaccine like several days ago. Like I was one of the first ones to be offered the vaccine in the state of Virginia, and I'm not going to take it. Are you crazy? I mean, no, I'm not crazy. I mean, I have a plan. I hopefully I never get COVID, but if I get COVID, I'm going on strict bed rest. Um, I'll probably do like you know, uh, cough and deep breathe exercises every hour. Like time tested nursing techniques to survive any kind of problem, um, coupled with symptoms management. That's what most doctors do in most illnesses anyway, right? And then a lot of rest because rest, heals your body. And then a lot of good food like meat. I mean, I'll be eating meat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Uh, Probably white meat, like turkey or something, something safe, not too greasy, but yeah. So I mean, I have a plan, and I'm like, I don't need like something going into my body that I don't know what it's gonna do that kills me. So my biggest fear is like taking the vaccine and then it damaging my immune system and then I would suffer more from COVID than I should have, or I would not have gotten COVID because my natural immune system would have fought off COVID that I'm exposed to. But because of the vaccine, somehow my immune system is compromised and I can't fight it off. So I end up getting it. So these, because remember, just because you're exposed to COVID doesn't mean you're going to get it, right? It's like just because you're exposed to flu doesn't mean you're definitely going to get it. You know, if your bodily immune system can fight it, fight the infection before it, spreads to your body, I mean, you're not going to get it, right? Your body has bacteria that you live with every day. You know, you have bacteria on your skin, right? But you're not sick now because your body's immune system can fight off the bacteria that's on your hand right now. But if your immune system becomes weak, the same bacteria that's on your hand can cause you severe illness because you're immune compromised. So that's what I'm worried about with the vaccine. Although, like, vaccine developers are saying there's no problem, I don't believe people who are going to make trillions of dollars from this thing. They have a vested interest in telling me that there's no problem. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I'm just going to wait it out. I'm going to wait probably a year or two. And if there's no problem, then I'll take it in the third year, year 2023. So, I have a plan. Obviously, I do temperature checks every day. If there's a problem, then obviously I'll go to my system, you know. But obviously, you do what you want. Obviously, it's your life. Um, I hope I won't get COVID, but I'm a nurse, so I can get COVID. I understand that. Many nurses will die from COVID. And so I feel like putting this vaccine into me is more of a risk than not putting the vaccine into me. I mean, I took flu vaccine. I was the first one to take flu vaccine. I went to CVS every day asking, is your flu vaccine out? And the moment they came out, I got the flu vaccine like first day or second day it came out in CVS in August. Because I'm like, I'm not going to get flu. You know how many people die from flu every year? I mean, tens of thousands, and this year, you may have hundreds of thousands die from flu. Because, during normal flu season, ICU beds are open, hospitals open. But in COVID-19 flu season, hospitals don't have beds. So if you get flu and you need hospital, you can't get there, you're going to die at home from the flu, not from COVID, but from the flu. So we may have hundreds of thousands die from the flu. We may have millions die from the flu. We don't know. We don't know yet because, winter hasn't started yet. So, yeah. So it's Christmas season, so I'm happy to celebrate the birth of my Savior, Jesus Christ. But it is sad on another level because I know a lot of people are going to die, including a lot of nurses. I'm a nurse, as you know, I'm a registered nurse in the state of Virginia. I have a multi-state license, over 30 states. I can practice nursing there. And I'm currently working full-time at Virginia Hospital Center to save your life, yeah, so obviously, COVID-19 is not the only thing that kills you. You could get killed with blood clot. You could get killed with a stroke. You could get killed with a heart attack. You can get killed from a fall. My grandfather, he slipped and fell, and he died. Did you know that? My grandfather, I think I shared with you. My grandfather was in Korea. And he's pastor all his life. He was a leader of the Korean Presbyterians, famous pastor. And after his retirement, he came out of retirement to help churches that were struggling. And he was leading prayer meeting every morning. These Korean pastors do that every morning. And one morning, after he led a prayer meeting I guess it was in the wintertime, he came out of the church and then he slipped on a piece of ice and fell. And again, he died from that fall. So, be careful when you walk. Don't fall. You can die from a fall. Because when you fall, you could hit your head on the floor and you could have a brain hemorrhage, concussion hemorrhage, and you could die from that. And there are other ways to die, and so, be very careful. Don't walk too fast in the wintertime. Gotta take it easy, walk slowly outside, if you're elderly, walk slowly inside too, yeah, I mean, you don't want to end up dying because you fall. People die because of a fall. My grandfather did. Um, yeah, so be careful. Second article is Arkansas speed up nurse certification to help struggling healthcare systems. Like from a nursing student's vantage point, yay, they're speeding up. Maybe they're thinking that. But as I said, a lot of nursing students are going to die in COVID-19. They're rookies, right? Rookies make mistakes, right? Using COVID rookies to treat COVID-19 patient is like sending a rookie police officer to a gunfight. You know what I mean? I mean, you have more things to worry about than solve. I mean, you always send like a veteran, experienced veteran to like to a gunfight or like a complex situation, so that rookie can gain some experience. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, so it's like using nursing students to treat COVID-19. It's like that's like stupid, because you're gonna have so many nursing students die, and you need nurses. This is not going to end this year. COVID-19 is not going to end this flu season. It's going to continue next flu season, year 2021 flu season, year 2002 flu season. You're going to need nurses. Nurses are going to die. Even experienced nurses will die. But if you use experienced nurses on COVID-19 patients, there's a higher chance they'll survive because they're more careful, they're more experienced. Rookies make mistakes all the time. So you use them around COVID-19 patients, you'll be going through them like flies, Yes, I mean, use nursing students, but make sure you use them wisely. You know what I mean? Because you have limited number of people with skills. You don't want to go through them like tissue during flu season. Um, yeah, the quote from this article. Well, it's actually an interview because it's NPR. Ari Shafiro, the host, says, "Let's go to Arkansas now. Like so much of the country, the coronavirus is surging out of control there. Hospitals are having a hard time keeping up with the outbreak. And that's prompted Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson to order graduating nursing students, excuse me. See, that's how you get COVID, like nursing students. Um, that's prompted Arkansas's Governor Asa Hutchinson to order graduating nursing students to be fast-tracked into the state's medical workforce. Jacqueline Froelich of member station KUAF in Fayetteville reports. Jacqueline Froelich, byline, patients hospitalized with COVID-19 in Arkansas are breaking new records. Almost every day now. Nearly 40% of ICU in the state are occupied by COVID-19 patients. I mean, flu patients need ICU if it's serious, right? Heart attack patients need ICU. Stroke patients can need ICU. You see what I'm saying? But 40% of the beds are occupied by ICU. This is why I'm saying if you get flu in normal non-COVID-19 season, you're gonna survive, but you're gonna die. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So we can have over 1 million people die from the flu. That's not COVID, or more than a million by end of flu season. That's the tragedy right now that we're facing. Third article is Tulsa nursing students to graduate early amid call to fight COVID-19. So this is closer to home. Like I'm in Arlington, Virginia, next to DC. Tulsa is like in Maryland, Tulsa University. So, we're talking about like stone's throw away from Arlington. This article is by Tim Tutin, KCCI News, today's article. And the significant quote from this is Maryland universities, right? Maryland universities are responding to Governor Larry Hogan's call for nursing students to graduate early. They're needed to help deal with unexpected unexpected coronavirus surge. According to the numbers, two-thirds of Towson University nursing students are set to graduate early this winter in order to head into the workforce. Quote, the faculty was very smart in thinking about how to front load the education so that our students would be prepared to go out into the workforce as early as we could, said Lisa Plowfield, Dean of Towson University. Yeah, a lot of them are going to die from COVID. Um, if you're a nursing student entering a hospital to work, obviously you have to recognize you can die. COVID-19 has mutated in June in Florida and all over the country, obviously. It spread to infect 20-year-olds. So 20-year-olds can get infected and die from it, especially in the flu season. So a lot of nurses are going to die. Nursing students who become nurses will die. So that's coming. I mean, remember, this is only December. We have December, January, February, March, April. Remember April when 30,000 people died in New York? April, May, and June to go. We were that far away from April. Yeah, it's going to be horrific. I'm calling this COVID-19 hell on earth. Yeah, that's what we're in right now. And I'm predicting that we can go to 5,000 daily COVID death by Friday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in 3 days. On Tuesday, we are at 3,000, right? So let's see. Let's see if we get there. Hopefully we don't, but you know, um, I'm predicting that we're gonna have 10,000 deaths per day at some point in December, before Christmas. So we are now on the 17th day before Christmas. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Things are bad and things are getting worse. Yeah, I mean, Virginia's breaking records, Maryland's breaking records, DC's breaking records. Yeah, things are bad. Things are real bad. Um, yeah. So anyway, I'll keep you updated. Tune in tomorrow to get an update on COVID-19. Um, yeah, but recognize that you can die from COVID. So make sure you make arrangements, appoint guardians for your children. If you die, if you're a single mom, if you die, they could become orphans. Or if even if you have husband and wife, both of you can die. So make sure you appoint a guardian and put them in a will. You could reciprocate, right? If you die, we'll adopt your children. We'll be guardians for your children. If we die, be guardians for our children. Do a reciprocal arrangement with several people because both sets of the parents could die, so you should have like several sets, right? You should do this agreement, in the event that these two, my children cannot go to them because they died from COVID. They could go, to them. You gotta have like plan B and plan C because a lot of people are gonna die, especially in this region, DC region. A lot of people are gonna die. In Montgomery County, Arlington County, Fairfax County, City of Alexandria, City of Falls Church. A lot of people are gonna die. This because we're like in DC area. There's a lot of movement, a lot of movement. So a lot of death is expected. Unless you lock yourself in your home and just socialize only with your family, then you have a higher chance of survival. But there's always a risk of getting COVID when you go for grocery shopping. Or whenever you're outside, going to the post office or whatever. So that's something you cannot, forget. But if you're a true Christian like I am, then when you die, you go to heaven. So as Saint Paul said, to live is Christ, to die is gain. To live is Christ, to die is gain, right? I mean, heaven is far better than place on earth. Obviously, don't commit suicide because you go straight to hell. But um, if you end up dying from COVID, and if you're a true Christian, you know that there's a better place waiting for you. So there's one, that's kind of a source of comfort and hope, right? Um, and so this is what I say. My hope is in nothing less than Christ and his righteousness. I do not have hope in vaccines. I do not have hope in scientists. I do not have hope in politicians. I have hope in Jesus Christ and his righteousness. And I hope that you will not have hope in vaccines. I don't believe in the liberal media who makes vaccines out to be like a god. Um, I hope that you will have hope in what really matters, because vaccines will fail you, scientists will fail you, but Jesus will not fail you. Jesus guarantees that you will enter into paradise as long as you believe in, and your belief is genuine, which means you accept Romans chapter 1 with all your heart. Um, yeah, so my hope is in nothing less than Jesus Christ and his righteousness. I hope that you will share my hope, because that is the hope, that is the true hope. Um, I hope that you will be well and that your family will be well too. See you tomorrow. Bye.